If you want to stop doubting yourself and finally feel confident no matter who's watching, start today. Not someday. Confidence isn't luck, it's a daily habit, and you have everything it takes to build it. So if you're ready to silence self-doubt, rewire your mind, and unlock your full potential, hit subscribe and join the journey. Every video will help you step into your power. One thought, one action, and one breakthrough at a time. Your inner dialogue is the foundation of your confidence. Every single day, you are having silent conversations with yourself about what you can do, what you can't, and who you believe you are. Most people don't realize that the voice in their head shapes how they feel, how they act, and how they show up in the world. When that inner voice is filled with doubt, judgment, and negativity, confidence begins to fade. But when that voice becomes supportive, encouraging, and empowering, everything about you starts to transform. Think about how easily one negative thought can change your entire mood. You could be having a good day and then one thought slips in. I'm not good enough. I look stupid. Or I'll probably fail. Instantly, your energy drops, your posture shrinks, and your actions start to match that thought. That's how powerful your inner dialogue is. It can either build you up or break you down depending on what you feed it. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. It grows from the inside out, from the story you tell yourself every day. When your inner dialogue is negative, you subconsciously tell your brain that you are not capable. The brain listens, believes, and adjusts your emotions accordingly. Over time, this becomes a loop. Self-doubt fuels fear, fear limits action, and limited action reinforces self-doubt. But the beautiful thing about the human mind is that it can be rewired. You can interrupt that cycle by changing how you talk to yourself. The moment you replace criticism with encouragement, you start giving your mind new instructions, ones that support confidence, growth, and courage. Confidence is not arrogance. It's a quiet certainty that comes from self-belief. And self-belief is built through consistent, positive self-talk. It's about catching yourself when you think, I can't do this, and replacing it with, I'll figure this out. It's about turning I always fail into I'm still learning. The words you use create your emotional state, and your emotional state determines how you perform in every situation, whether it's an interview, a presentation, or even a simple conversation. If you want to instantly boost your confidence, start observing how you talk to yourself. You'll be surprised at how many times a day you use limiting or negative language. Begin by shifting your internal tone. Imagine talking to yourself like you would to someone you care deeply about, with patience, kindness, and belief. When your mind hears, you've got this, instead of you'll mess this up, your body responds. Your shoulders relax, your breathing steadies, and your energy lifts. Your inner dialogue is not just a background noise. It's the director of your entire life experience. The more you fill it with strength, gratitude, and belief, the more confident you become, naturally and effortlessly. The key is not to silence the negative voice, but to train a stronger, wiser one to speak louder. Because the moment your inner voice becomes your biggest supporter, confidence stops being something you chase and becomes something you are. Speaking to yourself like someone you love is one of the most transformative habits you can develop. Most people are kind, patient, and supportive toward others, yet harsh and unforgiving toward themselves. They carry compassion for everyone except the person they see in the mirror. But the truth is, how you speak to yourself sets the tone for how you feel about yourself, and ultimately how you experience life. Confidence begins when you start treating yourself with the same warmth and understanding you give to those you care about. When you talk to yourself like someone you love, you shift from being your own worst critic to being your greatest ally. Imagine a friend coming to you after making a mistake. Would you tell them they're a failure? Of course not. You'd remind them that mistakes happen, that they're learning, and that one moment doesn't define their worth. Yet when we mess up, we often say the cruelest things to ourselves. I'm so stupid, I'll never get this right, or I'm not good enough. These words don't just hurt, they shape your belief system. They create a version of yourself that feels unworthy, anxious, and fearful of trying again. Loving self-talk isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending you're perfect. It's about recognizing that you are human. It's about choosing understanding instead of shame. When you speak kindly to yourself, you begin to heal the parts of you that were broken by years of criticism and doubt. You give yourself permission to grow, to try, and to fail without losing self-respect. That's where real confidence begins. Not in perfection, but in self-acceptance. The way you speak to yourself also influences your energy and presence. People can feel whether you're comfortable in your own skin or not. When you treat yourself with love, your energy becomes softer yet stronger. You naturally attract respect because people mirror the way you treat yourself. The more love you show within, the more confidence you radiate without even trying. You no longer need approval because you've already given it to yourself. You can practice this shift every day. When you catch yourself being negative, pause and reframe it. Instead of, I can't handle this, say, I'm learning to handle this. Instead of, I look terrible, try, I'm taking care of myself and improving every day. At first, it may feel awkward or fake, but remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined words. It simply absorbs whatever you tell it most often. So the more you repeat loving, encouraging statements, the more your mind begins to believe them. Speaking to yourself like someone you love is not a one-time exercise. It's a lifelong practice. It's about choosing compassion every time you're tempted to criticize. It's about reminding yourself that you are worthy of patience, respect, and forgiveness. When you build that kind of inner relationship, confidence stops being a mask you wear. It becomes the natural expression of how deeply you value yourself. Your brain believes what you repeatedly tell it, whether it's true or not. This is one of the most powerful and overlooked truths about human psychology. Every thought you think, every word you speak to yourself creates a pattern, a neural pathway in your brain. The more you repeat something, the stronger that pathway becomes. So when you constantly feed your mind with thoughts like, I'm not confident, I always fail, or I don't deserve good things, your brain wires itself to accept those statements as reality. Over time, you begin to live according to those beliefs, even if they were never true to begin with. Positive self-talk is not about empty affirmations or pretending everything is perfect. It's about consciously training your brain to believe in your capability and worth. Neuroscientists have proven that your brain doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. It reacts the same way to a vividly imagined experience as it does to a real one. That means when you repeatedly tell yourself you are confident, capable, and worthy, your brain starts to release the same chemical signals it would if you had actually achieved something great. Your posture improves, your heart rate steadies, and your mind begins to focus. You start becoming the version of yourself that your thoughts describe. This is why repetition is key. Confidence is not built overnight, it's built through consistent reinforcement. Just like going to the gym trains your muscles, positive self-talk trains your brain. Every time you replace a negative statement with an empowering one, you're strengthening new mental muscles. Over time, these become automatic responses. Instead of thinking, I can't, your brain naturally thinks, I'll find a way. Instead of, I'm nervous, it becomes, I'm excited to grow. The shift might seem small, but the results are enormous. Many people underestimate the power of repetition because they want instant results. But remember, you've probably been repeating negative thoughts for years. So it takes some time and persistence to reprogram your mind. The good news is that your brain is flexible thanks to something called neuroplasticity, its ability to change and adapt throughout life. Every positive thought you reinforce literally reshapes your brain's wiring. That means your confidence isn't fixed. It's something you can rebuild from the inside out. Start by choosing a few simple affirmations that feel believable and personal to you. Say them in the morning, before bed, and especially before moments that challenge your confidence. Phrases like, I am becoming stronger every day. I can handle whatever comes my way. Or, I am enough as I am might sound small, but they carry immense power. When spoken with emotion and consistency, they start changing the way you see yourself and how you respond to the world. Your thoughts are not harmless, they are instructions to your brain. Whatever you tell it, it works to prove you right. So if you want to boost your confidence, feed your brain with words that empower you, not limit you. The more you repeat them, the faster your mind starts believing. And when your mind believes, your entire life begins to align with that belief. Confidence comes from within, not from the approval or validation of others. Many people spend their lives chasing acceptance, trying to be liked, admired, or praised, believing that when they finally earn it, they'll feel confident. But that kind of confidence is fragile because it depends on something you can't control, other people's opinions. True confidence is different. It's quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-acceptance. It's knowing who you are and valuing yourself, even when no one is clapping for you. When your sense of worth depends on external approval, you give your power away. You begin to shape your choices based on what others might think rather than what feels right for you. You start hiding parts of yourself, saying yes when you want to say no, or avoiding risks out of fear of judgment. The irony is, the more you chase approval, the further you move away from authentic confidence. You become like a mirror, reflecting everyone else's expectations instead of shining from your own truth. Confidence that comes from within is built on self-respect. It's not arrogance or ego. It's simply the understanding that your value doesn't change based on someone's opinion. You could be praised or criticized, accepted or rejected, and still know your worth remains constant. This kind of inner stability creates freedom. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone because you're already at peace with who you are. When you start validating yourself, everything changes. You stop overthinking what people might say. You stop needing to be perfect to feel worthy. You stop depending on compliments to feel good about yourself. Instead, your confidence becomes an unshakable foundation, one that stands strong no matter how others react. You start doing things because they align with your values, not because they'll earn applause. That's when you become magnetic, because authenticity is far more attractive than perfection. The key to developing this kind of confidence is self-awareness. You have to get honest with yourself about where your approval-seeking habits come from. Maybe you were raised to believe love had to be earned. Maybe you were made to feel that your worth depended on performance or appearance. Recognize those old patterns and remind yourself that you no longer have to live by them. You are allowed to feel proud of yourself simply for growing, learning, and showing up. Confidence isn't built in a moment of praise. It's built in the quiet moments when you choose yourself. When you stand by your values, even if it's unpopular. When you speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. When you keep moving forward, even after failure. These are the moments that strengthen your inner foundation. When you realize that confidence is internal, that it's something no one can give or take away, you become free. You start living not to impress, but to express. You stop chasing approval and start radiating authenticity. That's when confidence stops being conditional and becomes who you truly are. The words you use carry power. They can either limit you or lift you. Every time you say something to yourself, you are reinforcing a belief, whether positive or negative. The problem is that most people use language that keeps them small. They say things like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or this always happens to me. These phrases may seem harmless, but they send strong messages to your subconscious mind, convincing it that you are powerless. Over time, your brain stops even trying, because it has accepted those words as truth. If you want to boost your confidence, you must become aware of the language you use and start replacing negative statements with empowering ones. Words are not just sounds. They shape how you feel and act. When you say, I can't, your brain immediately shuts down the possibility of trying. When you say, I'll try, your mind begins searching for solutions. This simple shift opens new pathways in your thinking. Similarly, replacing I'm not enough with I'm growing every day changes your focus from failure to progress. You start recognizing your effort instead of fixating on your flaws. That small change in perspective builds momentum, and momentum is what confidence thrives on. The human brain responds to patterns of language. The more you repeat a phrase, the more your brain believes it. That's why self-talk matters so much. When you speak negatively, you strengthen neural pathways connected to fear and insecurity. But when you use empowering language, you activate parts of the brain that regulate motivation, courage, and optimism. This isn't wishful thinking, it's biology. The words you use literally rewire your brain to support or sabotage your confidence. You can test this for yourself. Think about a moment when you felt completely defeated and said, I can't do this. Notice how your body felt. Tense, drained, closed off. Now say out loud, I can handle this, or I'm learning how to get better. You'll feel your energy shift, your posture straightens, your breathing deepens, and your mood lifts slightly. This happens because positive words release dopamine and serotonin, the brain's feel-good chemicals, helping you feel stronger and more capable. Changing your language doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is easy. It means choosing words that move you forward instead of holding you back. Instead of saying, this is impossible, say, this is challenging, but I can find a way. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned something valuable. You're not denying the difficulty. You're simply refusing to let your words trap you in it. Over time, this practice builds resilience, the ability to stay grounded and confident no matter what happens. Confidence grows when your words align with your potential, not your fears. Every phrase you choose is either an anchor or a ladder. So choose words that lift you higher, words that remind you of your strength, your progress, and your worth. Because once you start speaking to yourself with power and intention, your reality begins to rise to match your words. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build day by day through consistent practice. Most people think confidence is a trait that some have and others don't. But in reality, it's a skill. One that grows stronger every time you choose courage over fear. It's not about always feeling certain or fearless. It's about acting in alignment with your goals even when you feel uncertain. The more you practice showing up for yourself, the more your confidence expands. Every act of self-belief, no matter how small, is a building block of confidence. When you take a risk, speak up, or try something new, even if you stumble, you're training your brain to associate action with capability. Confidence doesn't come from perfection or success. It comes from evidence. Each time you face something uncomfortable and realize you can handle it, you create proof in your mind that you are capable. Over time, those small wins become the foundation of unshakable self-trust. The mistake many people make is waiting until they feel confident before taking action. But confidence doesn't work that way. You can't think your way into it. You have to act your way into it. The feeling comes after the doing. When you take one small step forward despite your doubts, your mind learns that fear doesn't control you. That experience builds emotional strength, and with repetition, it becomes your new normal. Just like a muscle, confidence grows through repetition and effort. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Daily habits also play a major role in maintaining confidence. The way you take care of yourself, the goals you set, and the boundaries you keep all reinforce how much you value yourself. When you keep promises to yourself, whether it's waking up early, exercising, learning something new, or simply being kind to yourself, your self-respect grows. And when self-respect grows, confidence follows naturally. Every small act of discipline is a quiet message to your brain that says, I can trust myself. Practicing confidence also means allowing yourself to fail without losing self-worth. Failure is not a sign of weakness. It's part of growth. People who appear confident aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who don't let falling define them. They treat failure as feedback, as part of the process of becoming stronger. This mindset keeps your confidence alive even in difficult times, because you stop fearing mistakes and start using them as fuel for improvement. Ultimately, confidence is a daily decision. It's built through small choices, speaking kindly to yourself, taking action despite fear, and honoring your own progress. There will be days you doubt yourself, but that's okay. What matters is that you keep practicing. The more you repeat those small, courageous acts, the more natural confidence becomes. One day you'll realize you no longer have to fake it, because you've practiced it into reality.